Soldiers of the Storm Z unit of the invading Russian army have released images showing heavy losses near the city of Pokrovsk in eastern Donetsk region. The division's commanding officer, nicknamed Scar, said that they went on a 3-day reconnaissance operation, but the operation lasted 14 days, during which time they did not receive any additional help, and said that they suffered heavy losses. Commanders were among the dead. Most of the soldiers of the 3 divisions were destroyed, and the surviving soldiers had to spend several days among the corpses of their fellow soldiers. The invaders said that there were mines dropped from Ukrainian drones in the area, which made movement difficult.
На нее наступишь, оторвет нахуй ногу, эта пидораска скидывает их, ей летает дохуя. Ну как-то так, короче. Страшная хуйня, ребята. Находимся мы здесь 14 суток. Заходили, нам говорили на 3 суток. Кинули нас в разведку с боем. Хотя должна была заходить первая группа, это разведка. После них мы должны штурмовики, потом закрепщики, 37-я, 40-я. Их мы ждали 13 дней, только сегодня они подошли все. Нас разъебало 2 взвода. Разъебало 3. Если с 3 взводов собрать всех, то у нас получится меньше даже 1 взвода. Я сам 300-й, у меня колено, нога гниет, дыра, осколки, руки. Также и у моих всех братьев, которые здесь рядом находятся. Вы просто посмотрите, что творится с нами. Вон лежит. Вообще не добежал. Ладно, что? Будем двигать дальше. Хули нам еще пиздец ебашить. Птички летают. Пока туман, мы двигаемся. Давайте, что? Приду на место. Дам знать. Братья, всем добра, здоровья. За нами, пидорасам всем пизда. С деревни мы выгнали их. Новоселку взяли в оборот.
According to Associated Press, the head of the UN atomic watchdog said Tuesday he will visit Moscow in the coming days to speak with officials about Russia's persistent attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure which threaten nuclear safety. I have from the very beginning of this war insisted and managed to keep a very open channel of communication with, of course, with Kiev and with Moscow. I've met President Putin several times, Minister Lavrov and the CEO of Rosatom, people from the military and the nuclear regulator. And I think this is essential, International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi told the Associated Press. Grossi also said there were a few occasions where we had close calls, with regard to Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia, which is under Russian occupation. Grossi did not condemn either side for attacks on the plant, saying because it lay so close to the front line it was hard to determine responsibility. More than half of Ukraine's power is generated by 3 functioning nuclear plants, and Russia has increasingly threatened their ability to function. Meanwhile, the Zaporizhia plant, which is not under Ukraine's control, in the southeast of the country, was occupied by Russia in the opening days of the full-scale invasion. It is one of the 10 biggest nuclear plants in the world. Grossi visited an electrical substation in the Kyiv region of Ukraine Tuesday and said that damage to such key power grid facilities during the war poses a threat to nuclear safety by potentially disrupting vital cooling procedures at atomic plants. Russia has repeatedly tried to cripple Ukraine's power grid, denying the country heat, electricity, and running water in an effort to break the Ukrainian spirit. The attacks have also sought to disrupt Ukraine's defense manufacturing industry. The war has brought fears of a nuclear catastrophe as Zaporizhia has repeatedly been caught in the crossfire of fighting, and while its 6 reactors have been shut down for months, it still needs power and qualified staff to operate crucial cooling systems and other safety features. Russia meanwhile has been attacking electricity substations which can also threaten nuclear safety. When substations providing electricity to nuclear plants are damaged or cease to function, Grossi said, emergency diesel generators at nuclear plants become the last line of defense against disaster. And when you have a big nuclear power plant, you don't want to be at the last line of defense, Grossi told the Associated Press in an interview during his visit.
They do other things, you know.
What about infrastructure near the reactors?
No, I can tell you that it's not, you know, I mean, we are very clear, you know. I have from the very beginning of this war insisted and managed to keep a very open channel of communication with, of course, with Kyiv and with Moscow. I've met President Putin several times, Minister Lavrov, and the CEO of Rosatom, people from the military, the nuclear regulator, and I think this is essential. The switch yard, normally those switch yards are very close to the NPPs.
And you're confident about that?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball. But
there were a few circumstances. Before we started our operation, there was direct shelling. We had last summer, you remember the fire of one of the cooling towers. You remember this huge cooling tower with this black smoke coming out of it. So there have been a few occasions where we had close calls.
Отримати потужність від атомних електростанцій, перш за все, західного району Рівненської і Хмельниччини.
The worst, if you ask me, in these terms, could be that the operability of these substations is neutralized completely, so you don't have any capacity to connect them to the nuclear power plants. At that moment, the nuclear power plants is not that they are going to go straight into a meltdown or an accident, but they are going to have to be cooled through emergency generators, like the ones that you may have in a house or in any facility, which is basically the last line of defense. And when you have a big nuclear power plant, you don't want to be at the last line of defense. Not to mention that you may have supply problems. I mean, they need to be fueled. These emergency generators. So you're putting yourself very close to the wall, and you don't want to be there. You want to avoid that situation. So this would be a very, very dangerous position to be.